Looking at some examples on parent functions and transformations, I'm going to go down to this problem, and it says that the question, identify the function family to which f belongs. You can see in this problem, you're dealing with an absolute value. So the very first answer to this is it belongs to the f of x equals the absolute value of x, or the absolute value function. Compare the graph of f to the graph of the parent function, which means how is the orange related to the blue? The orange I drew in as the parent function. The blue one you can see is narrower. It hugs the y-axis, and it's also shifted up 1 unit. So the way that you can write this in shorthand is we're going to do a 1 going up, and it's going to be twice as steep. Instead of going to 1, 1, you're going to 1, 2. Instead of going to 2, 2, you're going to 2, 4. And adding 1 more because of the shift up. So it's twice as steep. So you can say it has a vertical multiplier of 2. Vertical stretch by factor of 2. Please forgive my writing. I'm doing it on a sketchboard or a sketch pad, and it's not too accurate in terms of what I'm doing and how clear my writing is. The second question is compare what is the function family. The function family, you can see we're dealing with the square, so we're dealing with a quadratic. So quadratic. And you could say also it's f of x is equal to x squared is going to be the parent function. Second of all, if you compare them, we can see that we're shifting it 0.00 over to 30. So we're going 3 units to the right. And you can see this is going to be much wider than this one, and then the parent function. And therefore, I know that it's going to have a vertical shrink by 1/4. Vertical stretch, vertical shrink. Next, if I look at this problem, the question is to graph it. When you're graphing p of x, notice that there's a negative sign that you're multiplying by every x squared. So what that negative sign is, it takes any point here and reflects it down to here. So that means that all your y's are going to be 0 or negative, which means more or less it's going to look like this. Again, real bad drawing, but you get the general idea here. So it's a reflection. The parent function is going to be f of x equals x squared, and describe the transformation. It's a reflection over the x-axis. All right, just doing this orally, the question is, how do you graph this? It's just going to be steeper than the linear function, and it's going to be steeper by a factor of 3, or a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. This is an absolute value, is the parent function, and you could also say that since this is less than 1, it's going to be a vertical shrink by a factor of 0.2, so that's going to come out this way. And the last problem, it says using your graphing calculator, but we'll do this on our own. The question is, how does this absolute value move to reflect this g of x, which equals the negative absolute value of x plus 5 minus 3? It's going to move 5 to the left, because you're adding 5, it goes the opposite direction. So this would be -5, and then it's going to be 3 down. So this point is going to be at -3. And the last thing we know is it's going to be a reflection, and it's going to be reflecting down. So it looks something like this. And notice that I'm putting numbers in to show where that vertex of that absolute value is.